Well, the fight is not over. Donald Trump and Ted Cruz will be teaming up to take the Iran nuke deal down. It might be too late. Hi, everyone. I'm Neil Cavuto, and the president may have the votes, more than enough votes, to save this deal. But Senator Ted Cruz telling me he still has other plans.
Well, I expect we will see thousands of people from across the country gathering on Capitol Hill. It involves pro-Israel groups, national security groups, Tea Party groups, all coming together. And last week, I invited Donald Trump to come join us. And Donald
Did you invite anyone else?
I did not. And the reason that I invited Donald Trump is that when Donald shows up, he brings with him armies of television cameras. The mainstream media will show up in force to film what occurs. And I think there is no more important issue facing this country right now than stopping Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon.
Well, even Charles says this is why the anti-establishment crowd is crowding the others out. Also here, Ben Stein, Dagan McDowell, Adam Lashinsky, Charlie Gasparino. First of all, my thanks to Charles and to Dagan for filling in so ably in my absence. In fact, they did such a great job that they will never be asked to do so again. Charles, on this, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, the groupthink and the power hungriness of Washington, D.C. is absolutely right. It's amazing because what Ted Cruz is talking about, you go back to when the Tea Party evolved, it was all about anti-establishment. It wasn't about a particular party, but the fact that Washington, D.C. continues to let us down and will not listen. The overwhelming majority of Americans think that this is an awful deal, and it's too dangerous of an awful deal not to have louder voices, or at least to take their consideration. And that's why you got the Ben Carsons, the Donald Trumps, and the Carly Fiorina all leading in Iowa right now, and probably across the country.
You know, the irony with this is the numbers favor the president, even though this will be overwhelmingly rejected in the House and Senate, Dagan. It won't be by the margin that would override a presidential veto. So in defeat, it's not defeat enough, so victory for the president. I think that's the kind of stuff that probably rattles Americans, right?
Rattles Americans, and inking a deal that is a bad deal for not only us, but Israel and the rest of the world, that is essentially a multi-billion-dollar handout to Iran, and that makes the world a less safe place rather than a safer one. And politicians acting in their own interest. I want this for my legacy, I'm going to get it done. Acting in the interest of the people who line their pockets. That's what Americans are sick of, and that's why these people are popular.
You know what's odd? That a senator, an established senator, even though he's not quite establishment senator,
right,
would have to use a Donald Trump to sort of push the cause.
Yeah, it's odd, but it's the political season we're in. I mean, Donald is a press magnet, and Ted Cruz, if anything, he's really smart. I mean, this guy, when you ask people about President Obama in Harvard, they say, oh yeah, he ran the law review or whatever. And they can't think of really what he contributed. You ask Ted Cruz's professors, and guess what? They say this guy was the best, the smartest guy in the class, and he knows.
I got that all the time.
Yeah. I never did for some reason. I don't know, but anyway, he knows how to bring the crowds, and this is a smart move. But what politically? Because Ted Cruz's calculus is that Donald does flame out, and he wants part of his coalition.
What do you think, Adam?
Well, I agree. I think Ted Cruz is very clever, and to be doing something like this, and he's more than welcome to do it. The three people that you named is fascinating. Obviously, the American people don't like politicians right now because none of those three people have ever governed a day in their life.
Who are the three people? You're talking about Ben Carson.
Well, you mentioned Donald Trump, Ben Carson, and Carly Fiorina.
Well, Charles actually did, but you can credit it to me. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right. And so, but I also just want to say, the president is leading on this Iran issue. I know you're going to hate, everyone's going to hate me for saying this.
We already hate you, so go ahead.
Thank you, Dagan. You know I love you. The Constitution allows for this. The Founding Fathers set up a way where you had to have a big majority on certain things, and that's what this situation, in order for
well,
something
I could argue about whether this is a deal or a treaty, and there are different rules of treaties, but right. As it may, Ben Stein, it is going to go through, it is going to happen, and I think it's at the seeds of this populist rage. It's just, this is another example of why we have it, right? What do you think?
I don't think there's ever been another case where the president has rammed through a deal with a country that says death to the United States every morning as they're beginning prayers, where they're going to be allowed after a certain period of years to get nuclear weapons, where he has turned the constitutional process upside down so that instead of him requiring 2/3, the opponents require 2/3. I don't understand. He has just completely hornswoggled and tricked the American people, pushed through a deal that jeopardizes the entire future of the world. Why is he doing this? And what is the legacy? The legacy here is disaster.
No, you know, Ben, you're being populist now, which is just kind of surprising to me that you would stoop to this. No, he is, because this speaks to the issue. Let me finish. This speaks to the issue. I mean, you're saying what people want to hear. They say death to America. Who says death to America?
They have rallies where they say that.
Khomeini
yes, there's people who are
saying it.
Leadership says that.
Say it.
Here's the thing, Adam.
Let Ben answer. Ben, go ahead.
Yeah, high-ranking Iranian mullahs, a man of your ability can find this on the internet. They begin prayers in Tehran every day with this, death to America, death to Israel, and we're handing them nuclear bombs, not immediately, but eventually. That's terrifying.
And, you know, even if you think, as I do, that we should have some degree of interaction with Iran, they have a very secular, populace. You know, they're not all mullahs running around saying death to America. If you believe that, you have to ask yourself, just on the merits, is this deal that he's cutting worth it? I mean, this stuff, when you start reading the fine print, you start saying, whoa. I mean, there's no checks.
At least,
it's
Charlie,
yes?
At least that's an intelligent conversation. That's a conversation on the merits, which is what people in government have to do.
Doesn't it scare you a little bit that the leadership keeps saying, the leadership, not just a bunch of crazies in the street, death to America, death to Israel, we are cutting a deal with. I mean, that has to give you some pause. It gives Chuck Schumer pause, and he's in your camp.
The people right now want someone representing this nation that will look out for the best interests of America. This deal does not do that.
You know, this deal aside, though, Charles, you touched on it, but I had the pleasure of speaking on Fox Business Network, which, you know, if you don't get, you should demand.
Yeah.
And General Russell Honore, you remember him, that, you know, take no fools gladly, 10 years after Katrina. And he was saying that this, along with how we're turning our back on the military, you know, Russian ships just off the coast of Sea Island, Georgia, Chinese ships just off the Alaskan coast. It's all part and parcel, what he says, is taking advantage of this perceived power vacuum. We're not what we were. I think that rage, and that rage is part of what's going on.
300,000 vets dying on the waiting list, the VA waiting list, 900,000 waiting right now. It's not just this. Go back to Obamacare. I don't think you got a single Republican vote. Then finally, the American people said, we want checks and balances. So what did they do in November? Overwhelming victory for the GOP. And what have they done since then? They've rubber stamped everything that's come out of the White House. So the American public has said we are
not everything.
A lot, though, Ben. A lot, though.
Then why did Mitch McConnell go along with it and provide the vehicle through which a simple, you know, majority and all? You go ahead and approve this deal. You'd have to get all the way up to 2/3 to reject the deal. He went along with that.
It's been a very serious mistake. Very, very serious mistake. I don't know why he did it, but it's a very serious mistake. And let's just get this straight. This is a president who's inking a deal that has no security in it for the United States at all, and none for Israel, which is our closest ally. And Israel's the only country in the world that would actually fight if there was a chapter down and we need somebody to fight on our side.
But you brought up McConnell, which goes to the point of this whole segment. People hate all politicians because you can't trust them, because they're not looking out for the American people. The American people don't want this deal, but they teed it up so it would get passed. Right?
Can I ask you this?
Republicans and Democrats, they want a Trump, they want a Fiorina, they want a Carson.
What was McConnell's rationale for allowing this thing for the easy, you know?
Why are you asking me? I have no idea.
It makes no sense other than he's throwing the president.
But here's another thing, too, guys. We talk about special interests and also party lines. You had Schumer come out and a couple others, but once it was clear that this is veto-proof, then you have Democrats like Cardin come out and say, hey, this is not a good deal. Where's that leadership before the fact? Until after the fact.
But I think Dagan hit on something here. There's palpable rage on the part of those on the left and the right that explains not only Donald Trump, but all these outside candidates outside the political standard petri dish are resonating. Proof of that was in Chicago this week, and doesn't that town's mayor know it firsthand?
You raise up to Texas, you're going to see a mass exodus of people getting the hell out of this Today on Forbes on Fox, Kate Steinle's family planning to sue San Francisco's sheriff over sanctuary policies that protect alien criminals. Will that finally force sanctuary cities to enforce immigration laws? Also, a judge overturning Tom Brady's suspension over Deflategate. Well, now some are calling for NFL chief Roger Goodell to get suspended for good. We debate it at the top of the hour.